Hey everybody, this is Dust for Stood on Gaming. We're back for round number 5 with Through the Breach, our modern challenge. It seems reasonable, especially on the play here. Turn 3 Blood Moon could be pretty devastating depending on what our opponent presents. So we have Serum Visions, Blood Moon, Jace. Might wait a turn to Serum Visions depending, because we don't know what exactly we should be digging for. Not debating their hand. Sulphur Falls is an interesting one in this list. I think I like a 2 of. Feels pretty clean. Untapped red source that doesn't damage you sometimes is nice. Likely play line is probably Scalding Tarn, Fetch Island, Serum Visions. This deck doesn't really utilize multiple red sources very well, and you're basically going like Snapcaster, Bolt, Snap, Bolt, or something along those lines. So, want to emphasize the blue, especially playing on dropping Blood Moon on 3. Beyond that, I don't really know if there's a whole lot to talk about in our opening hand. I mean, 4 lands, this is a control hand, we have a Serum Visions. Yeah, it's basically all there is to our opener until our opponent decides to show up here. So Fetch, Islands, Serum Visions, and then Blood Moon's kind of our game plan. Blood Moon into Jace, depending on what they drop on turn 2 and turn 3. So far in this tournament, played against Mill round 1 against someone who's done well in other modern challenges. We played against Green White Eldrazi, which I'll have to try to like estimate that list if our opponent doesn't do well. It was like the colorless Eldrazi lists, but had like a bunch of brushlands and stuff to it. They had like Scavenging Oozes, Tireless Trackers. So, and we know they at least had Eldrazi Displacer and Reality Smasher. We did not see Thought Knot Seer, but we can probably presume Thought Knot Seer was there. On the sideboard, they had things like Mark of Asylum and Gaddock Teague, and never attacked him with Gaddock Teague. So, here we go. Like I said, we're not quite sure what we're searching for here, so I'm just going to Serum Visions blind. Hope to find like a Bolt or a Remand. So probably our best plays. Anyways, our opponent had like I screwed up game 1. I had a chance to I had basically had a play to win line, and then I chose not to flash in my Snapcaster Mage before blocks, and they were able to kill me with a Tireless Tracker for exactly lethal. And then so alright, so Lighthouse to the bottom, Remand to the top. Remand into Blood Moon. So, depending on what their play here is. Might have been incorrect to bottom Desolate Lighthouse there, depending on like if our Blood Moon doesn't resolve or something. But generally speaking, this is a setup that should win quite a few games against reasonable decks. Opponent is a Flooded Strand deck, and they're playing Slow as Molasses. See how they fetch here. They respect the possibility of Blood Moon. Doesn't look like it. Noxious Revival, sure. Looks like they might be the this Cheerios? Looks like it might be Cheerios. Cheerio, yo, Cheerio. Blood Moon them. Hope they don't have a white source in their hand. Might just have like 2 things in the opal, which would kind of suck. Yep. Well, there's an off chance we could die here. Fun deck. Got remanded on 2, Blood Mooned on 3, and still might win on turn 3. Alright. Cheerios. So am I supposed to click them or counterspell their nonsense? A very interesting question. Shram. Kind of nonsense. These decks are packing lately. One Grape Shot in the main deck. Okay. Nice. Counter target spell. Turn target permanent to its owner's hand. Could easily have another Mox Opal in hand. So with only 1 source of white mana here, we'll just go ahead and plan the Snapcaster Remand. Because they could have 2 copies of whatchamacallit in hand. Shram. We don't have a lot on the sideboard. We have engineered explosives, and then a couple more removal spells. What's their land base? They've got 2 plains. Most lists don't even run an island. Not sure if opponent's double queuing or what's going on over there. Would be funny if they like kind of timed out. It's like, do I draw step click them or do I just snapper man them? I guess I just snapper man since this is the plan we're already on. Our opponent would play more quickly with their faster deck. So their sideboard, they have like Forge Tenders, Path to Exile, Silence, Echoing Truth, Cure for Ether Grid, Paradoxical Outcome. We've been playing against some weird decks today. So this is definitely a deck that can win on like turn 2, turn 3. But yeah, the Noxious Revival kind of gave it away that it was pure steel. Pure steel combo. Claim to Fame, also a card to consider how to play around. I don't know that I necessarily like what was I going to say? Only having one grape shot is kind of a kill con. You know, obviously when you're going off, you can go all the way through your deck, but it does seem like you want like a second copy of grape shot. I mean, I know you have the Noxious Revivals to potentially, or you have really bad creature beatdown plan, but playing this to Snapcaster, Remand. Makes their land drop. Noxious Revival could potentially get us here too. So we have another Mox Opal. This is all going to be for naught, but I mean, it's the kind of play lines we got to take, unfortunately. Okay, on their 5th land, if we find an Emrakul, then sure. again. We gotta sit here and watch our opponent vigorously plays with their spells. We've used 3 retracts, so they are running out of those. Grape shot? Okay. You have the Noxious Revival too? So what do we even do here? And hope between yeah, Shroud's back. Mm-hmm. Click them during our draw step, although I suspect probably have multiple copies of Shram stuck in hand. Shram, Opal. Play the Pure Steel, potentially equip your whole deck. Alright, opponent's bled like a billion freaking minutes off their clock. Alright, sideboarding against that nonsense. Definitely want dampening spheres. Engineered explosives. Finger's not too hot against them. I want Dispel to play around. Then bringing in counter spells and such. Cryptic's kind of slow. Try like this. His hand is probably a mulligan. Hopefully we scry a second land to the top here. Or our opponent just decides to continue bleeding time and loses because of a timeout. Not the most interesting way to win Magic, but if you can't pay attention to what's going on in front of you, then I'll feel terribly bad about you losing because of a timeout. So we have a scry, an opt, scry off that, and a draw step to hit a second land for these for one of these damping spheres to at least slow them down. So Path to Exile, Silence, Echoing Truth. I have Hercule's Recall. Paradoxical Outcome. So most of this is based around them returning their crap to their hands, so not quite as good at returning hate cards. Excuse me. But their deck is interesting. It's just like very fragile, and the fact that they're just like not playing at all. Like if we win the second game, I don't know how in the world they're going to win a third game. Sure. Definitely bottoming that. Opt, looking for a second land. Medallion, click, bottom. Cryptic Command, not what I'm looking for. Land, please, deck. So I had a scry. Do you have a counterspell? Go. Sure. Master opponent. Sure. We should probably bolt one of these now and then remand whatever their first spell is next turn. Yep. It has reach, right? Yep. See what you got going on over there. Turning dispel, sure. Silence, silence, retract. Hopefully this will force out their dispel. That part sucks. Sure. Please tap out, please tap out, please tap out. Yep. All right, so you're dead. Cool. Leave up the spell, and now you die. And since they won't just surrender the game, there's a good chance they're just going to. All right, there they conceded. I just gotta make sure we don't die into some minutes here. So maybe bring in Dismember, bring in our Braids, these EEs out of our deck since they're not quite as good here. Blood Moon out, not quite as good on the draw. All right, got lightning bolts. I think that's good enough for me. That's really, really annoying. Mm-hmm. That's your opponent. Yeah, it's an annoying one, but Sure. Card is so annoying. Grape Shot's now at the bottom of their deck. This is why you need to learn to play faster, friend. All right, so kind of a selfish win, but our opponent wasn't playing faster, so they kind of deserve to lose that. So this is Windusk for Dustodon Gaming. Just a friendly reminder: if you're playing Magic Online, you're playing a long-term combo deck, play faster.